morning. You're watching a special broadcast on CNN News 18's YouTube channel. Today, we're going to discuss why Karnataka is planning to ban online gambling. Remember, recently during a cabinet discussion, the cabinet had decided that Karnataka will bring in a law to ban online gambling. Now, what does this mean? What does this include? What are its limitations? We'll discuss all that and more in the next 10 minutes. Joining us is Mr. Gopal Hosur, is a former IGP. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, to begin with, the Karnataka government is planning to bring in a law to ban online gambling. What does this mean? What does this really include? Is it about playing games online, or does this include just a certain kind of gambling? What does it include, and what does it mean for a common man?
I think the Karnataka government, probably studying the other states, bringing in banning of the online games, has proposed to bring about a law in this session of the assembly, and it has got the clearance of the cabinet. The exact law is not available to us, but yet I can visualize that they intend to ban gambling online. Basically, it may not be online games per se, but gambling online and maybe online games which are dangerous to the youth. So probably keeping this in mind, in this session, they want to introduce the banning of the online games. The exact architecture is yet to be known. Maybe when it is known, we can discuss it in greater detail. But then probably it is in keeping in tune with the vision of the government that gambling should be curbed, and more so online gambling, which is spreading very fast among the youth. More than I am told that more than 350 million people are on online games on a day-to-day basis, and I'm sure a large percentage of them would be addicted to this game, which is actually not good for them.
From a law and order perspective, what is the problem with this? From the police background, in your career, if you look at it, what was the problem that you would face from a law and order point of view? What is the problem, when a person is going online and gambling? Law and order perspective, what is the issue there?
Yeah, I think most legislations are quite challenging for the law enforcement. It's not just this new one that is being brought in. Including the normal laws, the conventional laws are extremely challenging to the law enforcement agency in terms of ensuring that those cases booked by them end finally in conviction. The conviction rate are abysmally low. Now the gambling per se, it is all derived from the 1867 Act, 1867 Act. So most of the states, and gambling is a state subject. So every state has got a law against gambling. For instance, if you speak of Karnataka, we have what is called as the Karnataka Police Act. And a whole chapter in the Act is dedicated to gaming and how to, the infringements of the law, how to deal with them. So basically, it is coming under the special and the local laws, not under substantive laws of the Indian Penal Code. So every state will have to devise its own means of enforcing and implementing the law. There have been challenges even in normal conventional gambling. Also, we have had a lot of challenges. See, it is not just that we go raid a place, seize things, and all that. Police work doesn't end there. We'll have to take it to the logical end, ensure that there is a conviction for violation of a particular law, which seldom happens. So coming to what you have been saying is about the online. It is going to be a huge challenge, just like the cyber crime. It is a cyber crime, and just like any other cyber crime, because it is borderless. Most of the sites are hosted abroad. Now, getting access to those sites and asking them to give the information on certain parameters is an extremely challenging job for the police. I do not know how this is going to be done, but I'm sure once the law is brought in, the law will the difficulties in implementing the law will come to the fore, and maybe as and when the situation arises, they may bring in suitable amendments to the law.
Right. Taking forward that point about borderless, online gambling being borderless. Now, physical gambling, say there's a cricket match happening, there's a betting that's taking place, you receive information, you go to a place, you raid the place. That is the physical raid part of it. And online, of course, if the person is holding an account from a foreign, a foreign account or an account in a site that is hosted by a foreign country, you're saying this is a state subject. How much of it can it be really enforced on people within the state, considering, like you said, it's borderless? Is there a point to this at all if this is the case?
Yeah, there is, as you rightly mentioned about the famous cricket betting and cricket match fixing cases. They were a huge case. Finally, they had to be handled by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So, any case that is transcending the borders, which the states are not capable of handling, probably the central law enforcement agency like the CBI or NIA will have to enter in, and probably there is also a need for the center to get involved into this, because if you at all you need to contact, communicate with foreign agencies, the states cannot do it directly themselves. They'll have to rely on the Interpol division of the CBI, and through that process only you can approach any other country. It is going to be extremely challenging. We may
And
book
this is
certain cases, we may book some cases here and there just for the statistics, but it is going to be an extreme. See, basically, the purpose is that you should cut it at the root, not just tamper with the leaves and the branches. And a lot of innocents may get booked by the case. So it is going to be very, very challenging and extremely difficult.
uh, like you said, the details of the law, it's not out yet, but what we're given to understand is that bettings like bettings on horse racing, that may not be included. Now, isn't there discrimination there itself on what a certain kind of betting is okay, a certain kind of betting is not okay? Gambling is gambling, but what is the difference here? Why make such a discrimination there in terms of this betting is okay or that betting is not okay?
Yeah, gambling has been in our society from the time of Mahabharata. You must be knowing the famous Pagdi game, which was more or less tossing cubes and then deciding the movement of the pawns. So basically, gambling has been divided into two parts. Gaming. One is game of skill, where skill is involved, and another is a game of chance. What the law says is a game of a chance is illegal. That means the player does not know whether he's going to win or lose, and it may be that a third party controls it. However, it typically like our lottery has been legalized, but this somehow the government feels that youth are attracted to it, and it has led to very dangerous situations, even like that famous blue whale case and all that, where a lot of youngsters challenged themselves and some of them died. So probably aware of this, I do not know how they are going to bifurcate those gaming cases which are permitted, which are not permitted, and if they are not permitted, why they are not permitted. Is there any data to substantiate the decision that the government is likely to take? So it is going to be very interesting to watch how it unfolds.
Before we wrap up this discussion, I want to understand from you. You have, from a police background, you know what an enforcement is going to look like in cases like this. You've talked about how the central government needs to intervene, how the CBI or the Interpol needs to intervene when it comes to a cross-border legal dispute or taking control of those which is hosted from a country outside of India. But on the ground, for the police to enforce it, what does the government need to remember when they bring in this law? What can make it easy for the police department or for the law and order agencies to make sure that the law is enforced on the ground? Basics, the fundamentals that will help the law enforcement agencies within the state. Your suggestions?
Yeah, I think to enforce any law for that matter, the people enforcing the law should have a total knowledge of the law. Many a time there are so many laws that the police are called upon to enforce. They do not know what exactly they are trying to do. So in the process, there could be a lot of injustice done to some innocents. So the training of the police, the law enforcement agencies in implementation of the cyber laws is going to be extremely important, because once suppose the police do not understand what they are supposed to uh, uh, enforce, they'll begin to enforce in a very, very wrong way, which is going to adversely affect. I still remember, I should pardon me for saying, one of my instructors in the police training college used to tell me, you do not have the luxury of time to decide unlike other departments. So you must act first and find out under which law your action can be fitted in. So the police need to act very fast and then later on decide which is the law violation in which this man is being booked, refer to the books. So this is the situation. So basically, it is the training of the police personnel, sensitizing them about the law and how they need to be extremely discreet in trying to enforce this law. It should not become a tool for harassment of the public.
All right, that's very clear, sir. So we were discussing about how online gambling is going to be banned in Karnataka. The government is planning to bring in a law. The challenges that is involved in this because of the borderless manner in which gambling takes place online, unlike physical setting where a betting takes place, and what needs to be done to make sure that this law is not misused to target the innocents who may not to be involved in this at all. Thank you so much, Mr. Gopal Husud, for joining us in this discussion and giving a clarity on what it looks like from the law and order perspective. And the
Thank
viewers,
you.
thank you
It
so
was
much
my
for
pleasure.
joining in and watching this special broadcast.
Thank you.